Tadi kanut na oda na nganzo I dibegi le pangdu wat temu kurang jebadi diba chewa na ani taji kazang ngan yala dogo yala so tende yurwa cheza tende inza dibe le de ani pangdu wa ime temu dura.
So now we've reached the 8th practice of the Bodhisattva in the 8th stanza, and the 8th stanza or the 8th practice teaches us to not engage in harmful deeds or to abandon non-virtuous deeds.
Badi kala na pena zawa de na kana khende zuge dunge ra ngeso dunge nams chinde zuga wala de pe dunge de ra zuga donne che ka u da pe kalofta pe dunge de sema to e de dunge chimbo nam ra de dunge nam karil tene ngosna ju ani dibi legend debu tube sunse chesang ganzo dande jinnawa chawa inare chiksena kangi inare khande inare ta ganzo lende kheleni jina to sama ani suzo ngema le duja sasha be di debu re la ora chesang dende ani tuba sanje chom dende ani sun yures chesang dande dungi chinde jiwa khande jiwa ina to sama ani dibi legend debu imba to sanje chom de sun yures la 다 근데 인자 아니 근데기 동에 참마 중사 시디 아니 디베기 레이 바이나 당가서 가르쳐 버려라나 아니 대시를 라데 진짜 대다 보이나 근데 인바 손자 아니 간저 소라 버자이나 소소 슈고 투나야 디빌레 아니 빵고 레스라 대시 소라 버자 디빌레스 남이야 메지 당가야 남이야 지기메스 녜마 제사주 제사주들란 제샤 제와다 아니 남이야 메지라니 아니 소소게 선나 당제 템포샤다 아니 메지 바디디 jese lane jese shanchu sambadu zoge ane nyamne rest nyamne chige rest la
so if we read the root text here, then in the last two lines it's written, for the sage himself has taught how negative actions will ripen into the manifold miseries of the lower realms, so difficult to endure. So basically, the sage here refers to the Buddha. So the Buddha taught that any kind of misery that you are going through, any kind of suffering that you are going through right now is in actuality a consequence of your actions in the past. So in the Buddhist sense of the word, it is taught that any kind of suffering that you go through in this life, since Buddhism teaches about rebirth, this life and the next life, it is taught that in the concept of karma, it is taught that any sort of suffering that you go through in this life is actually a consequence of the actions in your previous life. So now, if we go back to the first two lines of the stanza, the practice of all the Bodhisattva is never to commit a harmful act, even though not to do so might put one's very life at risk. So, since this suffering that we see and that we endure in this world comes as a consequence of our actions, and in particular our negative actions, then as a bodhisattva whose ultimate aim is to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings, then the practice of a bodhisattva is to refrain or to not engage in this non-virtuous deeds or harmful act, even if it come at the cost of one's own life.
Lende kelenji na ani suso la kangi do chumi de gala ta mila phaya la ma chu jin suso ngara gi chese ju ginde bure sam tes khari ne de suso la sen la sona da kangi de nyu do do ta na zo chi na cha du ja chu na adi ngara kyaw hame ge le sa sha ju de resra ne do sam ta wa na namsa mi shin ba la phaya la chu ya ma yin ge ani rani gi chen gi ani de bu yin ba de chu ngon zen de gala kangi de khari ne chu da.
So one thing that we can take away from this eighth practice of the Bodhisattva is the concept of karma and how we try to work this into our daily life. As a Buddhist, karma is one of the cornerstones of like accepting, understanding like reality, or understanding like the suffering nature of reality. So when we accept karma, karma as a consequence, like karma as the concept that like all actions have a consequence, and these. So if we are able to accept this concept, then like I'll take the example of like someone who's going through an illness or illness, and then if they are somehow able to accept this as their own karma, then like they do not engage in the business of like feeling like, why is this happening to me, and then like blaming others for this like situation that they find themselves in. If they are able to accept this as their own karma, as this like a particular situation that they find themselves as a consequence of their own actions in the previous life, then like there's more acceptance of one's own situation.
Tanda ngana soge chigi luden megi luden cho zambo chilen ra ti ani kyo ngama ngana soge yapo chibi ndebres ani maho bodi yang azu khaw doi men da chig lai da dine sanje koma sala doi da tede chena ngazo la pare nyo ma doi gila ga chen doi lam doi na ngazo la pare yure tenda ngazo chiji jina dile 가랑 하마 가요 다데르를 때스라 하마 간데 주면 알아서 다데르를 단 하고 그래서 심마 간데 단데기 센 때 단데기 센데 이게 상노 단다데 간데 심마 가도 되게 제선한 거 차고 그래서 근데 내가 배잖아 나서 그래서
And this like acceptance of karma is kind of beautifully captured in this like saying that we have. It says like if you want to know what kind of person or what kind of actions that you took in your previous life, then look at your physical body in this present life. And then if you want to know what kind of like rebirth you will take in your future life, then look at the state of your mind in this present life.
지금 단다 지금 가서 된주니 가와라야 돼 밀리도 싸워치 뭐 임바디 단다 가서 밀리는 야 돼야 지네 지도로 맞아야나 근데 이제 슈침부 제게 미바디 요래서라 근데 이제 단다 가서 약고 치고야 돼 아니 지게 내가 가르쳐는 정보장실 치야라 니 지금 렌데를 진짜 렌데 켈레니 지나라 아니 지난 렌데 켈만에나 지대긴 도나나 치와이네 미치직 나로나 미 아버지는 수준 미치 나로 지보인 거다 아 근데 이제 안에 가서 딘데라 안에 개 상어야 뻗다니 니리니리 처와지나 밀레 뇌마지야 돼 베이케치 머레스라.
So as we have like discussed before in like one of the other like one of the previous stanzas in the text, it is taught like this human body, this like human form that we have taken in this life is very precious because it has like all the favorable conditions and all the like it's blessed with like all these natural endowments to actually achieve nirvana. It has the like it has all the opportunity to like take a rebirth in one of the higher realms. So we need to make the best use of this human life, and by not engaging in non-virtuous deeds. So these are like the way like the Buddhist people like karma is approached in Buddhism, and how like we try to refrain from committing like harmful acts with the acceptance of karma. But it doesn't really matter whether you accept karma as a law or as a belief or as a concept, because even in the way like the way the world works, without this imposition of like of acceptance of karma, then if you are honest and if you engage in like good deeds, then somehow like the consequence of these deeds are like fruitful for you, or like these are the basis for you to like become happy in this life.
zamza so so nyamyung do chena de shige zamza diga na tike de diga thembe je ba so de ngada tike de ma to gore diga la ani pe de oda ani so so de tension de nung do de tis shaw ina kyunzo la ma thingir samte pendo chimbu chungor samne shage yesra dine ngado tari din ma kali kali mutu ni tin tike chi dogi dogi te la pe da ani khara ji para khara chaya lagi lagi che an sama ma thaji bi ani shurana tanda ngado de 시제 주바도 레디가 아니 샹추생 콜시기도 지당가 디퍼를 먹고 쉬어서스라 이내 담보 안에 차나마피 아니 질레디 저 가서 하만 라서나 아니 샹추생 콜 아니 제베시는 코든 저요 단단하게 제sel라네 시보라 어디리로 치었음스라
또 내가 브링어 디셰 마르라
카데 단다 테시샤네서
담보 강가 못는 지도에서
지지에 시기 빼자이 시라
So, as I explain these like practices, and I try to explain the root text to you, please do not feel like I'm straying away from the text or I'm like digressing when I try to like talk about other like sayings, other stanzas, and talk about other texts, because this I do this in the hope that you will be able to relate these texts, these examples to your own like real life experiences, and then like I try to like quote these other sources and these other scriptures, so like you will be able to have a better understanding of the concepts or the practices that are mentioned in this text. And initially I thought like I will read through, I'll teach you through until the 10th stanza, and then I will consult another text, the detailed text upon which like this text was actually based on. With this is which actually a concise form of. But like now due to time constraints, we will try to like read through and talk through all. We will try to complete like the teaching of these texts first, and then if we have the time, then we will consult the other sources too.
Okay.
Is that good for you?
Okay, that one's the chup mara gubadura. Dila tanda dila kariteng dilana tanda ngazoge ta dewala na chanagi jiten digi dewa na jawa shima da dewa chimbola ya dindira ta thatugu dewa negagu dewa ta thatugu dewa tanda ngana zula dewa kare na digi tsiji digi kariteng dilana ani dewa chimbur dugu marwa tana sajegi komanda digi tagu dewa dugu batengu dewa tanda ngado jiten ngi dewa yimba ina ya ta ngazo dewa munzi chigor de dewa pichunju wa ta dila ane dile dewa di karela na tsatsi sipa na shi resra tsagi sele sipa di ine namsa kam chu chondo yo cheta ngana zaga tanda ki tsendi ki dewa di pe ye chu cho nganza hale na lo jaya ane lo nga chu tu chu tunchu di nalo la mitsa khanza chibu me dewa yum chaba yo marra nawa tsawa da kari ina yungore cheta tsendi ki dewa di pe chunju yinba da ane ji chu cho meba so chu cho meba cha chu cho dinde res di pende khande shaasa na sisin dewa la di ta dekhan zukan zumi khande sum shakdara sibasin ra tinde ani sisun ge dewadi ani chachi siba na she resla chai siba ni ma sha namsa kamdo ya tina she ngara dewaji chogor de di dewadi junru mu de go mares yu jamshi ni anji bi chujin la di chesan tinde ge dewadi tuzu tundu jena namsa ji do yagi ani chunye de chujin tinde resla ora rashi re la ta ona ta dewa chimbole ne khande re tinde dewa ji me ju dewa pe tinde dewa khande ju na ani 타바다 당시 준비 되어더라. 제가 남이야 문제를 내든 지나게 못다버린 저도에 열때 다 나야 문제를 내든 딘데 남서 동영어 차야매 받아. 아니 딘데 대화도 조추좀해 받. 딘데기 남이야 문제를 알아. 남이야 문제 탑에 고마쳐. 아니 타바다다 디가나 다시 잠바에 고쳐더라. 고마쳐 된딩이와 딘데기 대화 친구 된것도 된딩이 고야 돼. 뺏기 첨부레스라. 된딩이와 아니 제세 상주 선반나 냐네레스. 제가 제세 상주 선반나 지기 센디기 대화 찍고라 전에 되고 말아. 공족에 빼나 타바다 당시 전부 고마타에 이제 대화 준rum부디 대화 갈았다 대화 친구디 라에 이제 안에 답지당 그러면서 센디기 템부 지기 또 나서 된지라 차니 디치고 말아 제가 근데 이제 아니 대화 친구디 된디니와다 틀은 베즈체에 이제 상주 선반남지기 아니 냠네레스.
Now the ninth practice of the Bodhisattva. If we read through the text, the practice of all the Bodhisattva is to strive towards the goal. And what is the goal? The goal is the supreme state of changeless and everlasting liberation. Since all the happiness of the three realms lasts but a moment, then is quickly gone, just like dew drops on blades of grass. So, like if we try to talk about the last two stanzas, it talks about the three realms. In Buddhism, it is explained that in samsara, in samsara, the samsara, the sentient beings, they take like a birth in these three forms, in the desire realm, in the formless realm, and then in the formed realm. And then like in these three realms, like we do not really have the opportunity to, we do not really experience what ultimate happiness is. And then like happiness is taught to be like of two types: the ultimate happiness or greater happiness, or worldly happiness or temporary happiness, and small happiness. Now like the worldly happiness that we experience, that we as human beings experience, is its nature is taught to be like easily extinguished, like easily ended. It's never like permanent. And this is the nature of the happiness that we experience. And it's easily changing, it's easily extinguished. This is the nature of happiness that we experience in as human beings in samsara. And then like this kind of happiness, this like worldly happiness, is compared to like the dewdrops on blades of grass. When there is sun, then the dewdrops, of course, they evaporate. So this is the nature of the happiness that exists in the that we as human beings feel in experience in samsara. So we do not strive to feel or to experience this kind of happiness. The kind of happiness that we as people who strive to become bodhisattvas, the kind of happiness that we want to experience, or the kind of happiness that we want to achieve, is the happiness of liberation and enlightenment. A happiness that is never changing, a happiness that doesn't turn to suffering in a moment, and a happiness that is never extinguished, a happiness that is never ending. So this is the type of happiness that we strive towards. So the ninth practice of the Bodhisattva is to strive towards the goal of liberation, wherein you have like changeless and everlasting happiness.
What was this three forms? The realms, the formless?
The Zukham.
Zumekam.
The
Zukham, Zumekam.
So in order, in like what do you call, the correct order, the desire realm, the Dukham, the form realm,
Formless.
and then formless realm.
Form, which one is our realm?
Nganzogeji di Sukham ra. We are in the desire realm.
Dukham. The Zukham that didn't like Molado. That is
Now, like if we go into detail, then of course there are a lot of like characteristics, a lot of conditions that we need to like agree on to say this is the desire realm, and then like it boils down to like dialectics in the end. But we will not go into detail. But like just to give you an example, us as human beings, we are born in the desire realm. And then like the gods of this transient world, the gods who still like roam around in samsara, they are supposed to be born in the Sukhamra, form realm.
The ordinary gods.
The ordinary gods, yes.
What is the third one?
Yes. The third one, formless realm.
And the formless is?
Formless is the Nyawadan Dira. Laira, Dear Hare, Sugamel Hare. So like we are born in the desire realm, that then the form and formless realm, they are like a classification of the gods, and like even in the gods there are like different levels. But like if we go into a detail, then there are like a lot of different levels of gods. And then like Sitse, that's the tip of like samsara. There are gods at that point too. And then there are like gods just above like the human realm. So these, like in between these two, the form and formless like realm is divided into these type of gods.
Then I'm a little bit confused because when we talk about the sixth realm, like the greater animals, how does it fit into them?
That Dwari Tugla Naya Chigiros and the Zo Khandis Sumes de Kam the Zo
Dwar tula de marata the ha me and Karta.
Lamai.
Hamai the Tenzula Shamra.
And the Didan Dibara Cheba Harriers.
Tanta digi tanda nga tsun dewe dan mara dan de kam de che and like kola she gon nyawa kola she ma tanda den de ritu le de nyawa da chama she gora nyawa
So when we talk about like these three like realms, we actually talk about like the three the humans, the demigods and the gods. So when we talk about the desire realms, the form and the formless, but as a general, like when we talk about the six different realms, and then we talk about all the sentient beings.
Okay. So like those three ones are like
The humans. Yes.
So these are like the three. These are the realms that samsara still happens. So even the formless realm, where the gods on the tip of the samsara are sitting there, they still reincarnate, right?
Yes, when they
Because
die.
it says that here that their happiness also lasts for a moment. So they're not in the ultimate realm, right?
Yeah. Even though like they have like very long lives, but in the end like they die, and then like they take another rebirth.
so tanda nga zo di na lo la tanda nga zo la sa de khan zo me khang dewa di dewa bit ko na ten de dewa de marora dewa ku da mitsi da de la korta.
So now as animals and people who are born in hell, and then like these like hungry ghosts, like the lower realms, of course, just by like looking at that, we know like their existence is characterized by suffering. We know that. But now like we have this misconception, like maybe if we are born in the desire realm, the form realm and the formless realm, then maybe there are some sort of happiness that we can actually like experience. But so this is like a teaching. This is to show you like even in this like realms wherein we feel like okay, maybe there's some sort of happiness in this, then it's a teaching to like meditate on like the transient like nature of the happiness in this realms too.
Tende inza tanda nga zo de le pe sha shu ina ra ben sisu da sa si ba zo yi sa chim ji bi che no na yam je thabe ko ma cho de ne wa je se la le yin la de gal ta te sang gi chala ya tanda di de yu ani chi thaba da tha chi ma de ne ye khang sa ra nga zo chi so na la thong de ne de nga zo chi chong ju ji le ma de ne ma shi kan zo thong go ma ra dang wo ne thane gi be mi tsi khang za nyam ne chu shin shin ne de ni ra so so chung yi chimina pang ani rutula chade de ne mambo yorra na daram kordo re dasa ja kaza preda ta peyuda kasakal yorwa tinde de de kunzo ge ji togo tamso na machari ta saya da no dik cham dik cham mi tinde ji la sana mada tinde ji matu tele ma sana mada ji ne ani mizi kanza ani gomdu nyang ne chiri ani mambo yorra ta du zung ne tane ge kunzo ge ta jidang mi ne sama gora tenjin na de saya bo khamba ya bo khari ni chani 무슨 소보 고거데 도저 상말려 땅에 리참 시라 가나 마치 마사 땅에 뜻 마차산 근데 전에 만 로다 로체네 아니 가와치디 근데 마고요 텐데 틀어요라 나마야 마보천 텐데야요.
So like when we talk about like people who actually like engage in this kind of like or who engage in this kind of practice still exist. Of course, like through media and like just as a general society, we see like some teachers they are in the spotlight and we hear about them. But like but I would like to tell you that there are still like real practitioners like in the very secluded areas of like even in like Dharamkot I'm sure you are aware of this place, Upper Dharamkot. There are like solitary retreats wherein they are like real practitioners who do not really like who forsaken like their material needs. Like they're just satisfied with like with the basic needs, and they have been like they have been engaging in this practice for years on end. So I would like to say like there are people, there still exist real practitioners in the world who engages in like long solitary retreats.
Then ngaro da chinjuga le jar le Gompa razan de mishlo ritu de shira ndoni mi ra chi de nani de ba shi ji le ni nzo phul de mi chong do de konzo da de na peshiku ne mu nani de ritu de puar ro chi es dasra de de la ngazo de ko ya ga de riga la tsega de di do shina par chik phasho de chi so da ngazo ne sen la de nu samara ra de ge shina chogo 아니 콘즈달로 되게 캄바 친지라 아니 가실레베니 제대로다 아니 잠바로 때면 되는데도 아니 배 리점이 당한서 있는 샤포직 되네 데투서 말라 로야 보메죠 아니 된다 되 tenja 보메죠 다 콘즈 배도 로들로 되어라 근데 있는 알아서 배 항상 해도 되는데 나랑 무슨 통수라 근데 많이 배 지나면 뭐 보여라.
So I would like to give you this example like since I was brought up in a very classical monastic environment, I wasn't really exposed. I didn't really have like much exposure to like this spiritual spiritual people who go to like retreats for years on end. But like a few years ago, someone passed away in Tibet, and their family members they asked me to like make offerings for the deceased but make offerings for the deceased by visiting like these retreats and trying to give like give offerings to these like practitioners. So when I went to like look for like these people in the forest up in the mountain, then like when I first saw like in the place where they like live, it's just a small box of a house where there is no light, and like the mattress that they have is like very thin, like it doesn't really like serves as a cushion. And when I saw that, like I was like kind of the simchukye sonda. I was like I was shocked, and I was like I felt like personally I would not be able to even spend like one day or one night in such conditions.
칼라는 코도 소존로다 순실리리 말레게서라 지바야 리갈 데데다 데레 땅은 상마 로토모스라 이마시가 드는데 까먹어는 데다 데 가시 야요 가시 파 가시 추도아 근데 나는 로바신 바질 때는 거지 디사마가리 가리 봐 베셔 탐로실래야 봐 데데리시라 근데 배 문에 걸었다 아주 냠네 쓰시 치디니 데네 문에 도와 다 문에 타베던데 녀야다 탐지 첨부 고만되는 여러 미지 데르갈 데는 가져라 시로바메 사야토나 참마 조우지 코야 조우 데서 조우 근데 지디에 땅문에 오라 단대기 대화들라 마찬이 라 아니 지금 마오바 대화 친구들이 라야는 그전다 안에 범둥이네 근데 친치 오라.
So and then like as I went around like trying to like distribute like this offering, then I learned from them like there are a number of like practitioners who live in like such solitary places in such like isolation, and they only come down like during a specific teaching or like the teachings given by the Dalai Lama. Only then they come down into the town. Otherwise, most of the time they're up in the forest, like engaging in their own practice. And after a while, like I was tired of walking like and looking for like these practitioners, so I asked someone else to do the distribution for me. So like all in all, I'm trying to illustrate to you the point like that's given in this like ninth practice of the Bodhisattva. These are real examples of people who have forsaken like this temporary happiness, this temporary like material comfort, or like this like transient like worldly happiness to pursue like the ultimate aim of liberation, to achieve like ultimate happiness. So there are like real examples and real people who engage in this kind of practice.
Will you practice?
콘조 지구로 통계도에서 동단나. Yes, they look content and happy. Even though when we look at their condition, we feel like they are like going, they are in such poverty, but like the look on their face and the way they carry themselves, they seem very happy and content with their like situation. Of course, but then like not everything is roses. But like when these people like they age, then of course they need the support of someone young to help them. And then like this spiritual community that they have, this solitary, then they have like a system of helping each other.
이라 이네 단데 마타시 타오르는 망보여래 샤주 생고라 다시 예바디 제랑아서 셔라 이네 단나아서 뒤뒤시 셔와이나 아니 담보칭아 디 차장마 차네 아니 아주 뒤저라와이나 이제 무티니 시셔라 근데 인자 아니 호레 단데 딜리실라 아니 제라스니 자오라.
So now we move on to the 10th stanza or the 10th practice of Bodhisattva. Now if we read the first line, the practice of all the Bodhisattva is to arouse bodhicitta. Now, bodhicitta, there are many different levels and there are many different ways of explaining bodhisattva or classifying bodhicitta. So, for the purposes of this like course, we will not go into detail. But like, if we are able to complete this text and we have some time left, then we will discuss about the many different like classification of bodhicitta.
지단디 샹슈 셈콜 시군디가라 베다 데네 잔망보 셰라 심지니 이센도 담드 셰 타이나가도 도도지 가르시오야나 아니 지단기 샹슈 셈 다제냐지 샹슈 셈다 아니 셈지랑레 망보여라 다제냐바제와다 아니 진데명아 데고네 셈지라 당가도 샹슈 셈랑지레 제랑레 근데 인도 단다 디컬 가르시오네 진데명아 데고네 시비도스더라
간지스네
윤대 명아 된지고는 샹주 생체당이라 아니 다제 냠제고는 생체당 다다 신념 버죠 더디가도 제버딩도 제라할이도라
단다디 가리
단다디 비지 윤대 명아 된고는 생체당이라
맹아송라 맹아송라 맹아 So in Buddhism, like as I mentioned before, bodhicitta and like how to develop bodhicitta is explained in like so many different ways. But like just to like give you a rough like overview, we will say like for now like there are two types of like generating bodhicitta in ourselves, and the two types of the two ways of generating bodhicitta in ourselves is the first is to like kind of meditate on the equality or to meditate on the equality or the equalness of self and others. This is one way of generating bodhicitta, and the other way of generating bodhicitta is to study and listen to like pith instructions. In Tibetan it's called mengak, like something so concise, wherein like if you try to meditate on like these like short and concise like instructions, then they reveal their meanings to yourself they reveal their meanings to yourselves. So if we kind of think about it, the way like the Bodhisattva this text is presented, then we can say maybe it's presented in the style of like the later one, wherein like we try to generate a bodhicitta by listening to pith instructions.
지단게 샹주부 셈라데 간데지고라노라 샹주부 셈라야 된다나 옌둥헬레 테월데베 데가지고라 지단게 친이 코라사나 옌데도 조샹라 미신데 옌데도 조샹라 미신 조비 사제 고관라 미고라 조디 와 옌데도 조샹라 미신 아랑기 토스치베 데바다 춘데도 치베
랑기 도스 치베
데바다 춘데도 치베 Techen lamji, jugur chubi, zoyi ji nambi. Tendej la nshanju sen.
No.
디즈 칼레카 주코 이데 간다 샤르센데 간다 줄라나 지 yen 치리 아니 사제기 고마 타벨 데바이라 어딘데 주고서 소소 상노당 말라 샹추비 생디 카르나 yen 파르볼 상노당 라 옌데도 조사나 미기 다 조디 yen 심게 상제다 네 사제기 고마 사는 고고선 고 뮤지 디어 다데 고와 차와 안에 담보라니 야 지कर 사마제 버도 밀로로바시도 마라 티체발라데네 아니 카르소다 디버를 샤주고 셈지야다 나중에 냠네 쳐야다 네 mambu지우라 어딘라
So now we explain about like the two different ways of generating or like cultivating bodhicitta, and now like if we like look at the term like bodhicitta or bodhisattva, then like bodhicitta is the intention to work towards liberation for the sake of other sentient beings. So this is the the meaning, or this is the definition of bodhicitta and bodhisattva.
bodhicitta semdijera bodhi karsana bodhisattva sanju sembaladi semdi yogi kasatwa korwa.
So bodhicitta is the mind or the mind nature, the nature, and bodhisattva is the person who has that mind nature or mind.
다디레 단다디는 토미 튜니 사비라 카르 토미 튜니 안에 달라 제와젠스 당도 제상한도 가장 숨 쉬바나신 예간도게 제와디만 보실래라 제와디 간도 다리디 토마를 라야마다 제와 토마면 반 제와 빼먹을래 제상 드네게 레와인자 아니 간조라 드네위 제와네 베린래야 아니 소소라 제와젠게 아만 마라 토미 튜니에서 달라 제와젠스 만남나디 제상한도 아마 mambo 요에 진실이 가는데 간도 제와 탕렌데버네 인자 간도게 아마 탕렌데버치 간도 치라 근데 인자 단다기 아니 만남 아니 둥엘렌다 데와디 아니 간도게 데레 텐데라 만나서 두나 아 라데치 시차스 제가 아마도 말씀전 한지 둥엘레나 아니 같이 보게 대화 가르편도 이랬어 라 근데 라데치 시차라도 ngay ngara chibu dewa samchi digi mari chesa dinde insa ngi ani manam ani dinde dunge dele chegi debachi ra dinde ji go logi go res teshir jinse dinde imba sonza ani teshir thaye simje deshishir dinde insa ani thaye bi simje thamje ra maji simje thamje le simje thamje rang mache mani chija me la go ra dinde bi simje thamji 아니 가서는 둥엘에 대게 치 텐데 왜 둥에 나대야들래 아니 nga 제 고야기 치데 진짜 디웨 인자 싫어를 올라디기도 어디 진짜 싫어라 디기 치데 아니 얘기 단다 가르치기라는 아니 상주 셈지 와 상주 셈지 아니 제셀라네 제가 상주 셈 란지를 제와이나 디 가르변도라나 라니 집부 대화자니 많이 봐신 심전 탐지기 대화를 아니 군대 로여라 근데 인자 아니 근데 왜 상주 셈지에 냠네 친이디 जैसे शांति संभावना जी कर हमने रेस जो टाइम दा to pass
now we talked about like bodhicitta and bodhisattva, and we are able to we define like what is bodhicitta and what is bodhisattva, and then if we take a read through the next lines, then it talks about how like as we talked about in before in Buddhism we say like we have taken like countless births in this samsara, like we have in our past we have taken countless births, and as such if we have taken like countless births, then like all the sentient beings or all the sentient beings has in at one point of time in our like past lives have been our mothers. So this is to say like if we have taken countless births in the past, then all the sentient beings, infinite in number, have in one of their past lives been born as our mothers. So, as such, these mothers, these sentient beings who are actually who we need to like look through these lens as having been our mothers in our past life. If these like sentient beings, they are enduring such like suffering, such suffering in samsara, then if I am only concerned about my own happiness, then this is not true practice. So we go back to the definition of bodhicitta and bodhisattva to like benefit like all these like sentient beings, infinite in number, who have served as our mothers in their past lives. We need to generate the practice of bodhicitta in ourselves. So this is the 10th practice of a bodhisattva.
Gompa le de ma chini ko la chen zo ra chen gi shang chu sen ko shi ani ma simje tha je ra gi mai la ora ta simje tha je ra gi mai la ne nyen ze de ji ba do chana ma re ma zo de zo zo kya gi tan de gi pal de chana amar bes kya gi phaju de chi de shimi de chana amar bes de ina chara di pu re bel zo 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 go ra ine di de khatu tan ngo zo ama ma ro ra ine ya ngo nyema gi ta 타링 도지레마도 장 하만 건저 아마 체여라. 계산 되네 이제 장 하만 아마 체여는 빼는 단대게 아마디게 수술을 가지 쳐라. 다 지랑이다 아마게 좋은 게 있네요. 그래서 아마가 가지 거래요. 네 맞제고 네 소거는 랍전 떼오르 되네 아주 털어는 런도 받아 아니 밤하게 생리 치오라. 되네 제산이야 마음바 보고 되게 아니 마음바 무슨 전함도 간대지. 혼자 배도 거를 제바니니 지네 아마디 때 부디 제원이는 아마 거랑 말은 거 선대다. 라. 부디 꼴라. 근데 인자 단단하죠. 아마 되게 세신 보이는 거들 돌로야 보이는 거들요. 제무제 아마 거란지나 파마 거란지서 비제 땅 말에 부글 저 체치다. 근데 제가 단단하죠. 파마된 거죠. 통고라. 데 가서 따짱 하면 아마도 더가나 체라. 라. 아난 디 다다든 가서 통고를 까지 첨부래 아니 빼 앞으로 라체. 다딩엘 디야 다가다가 체 되네 자 아니 가서 심전하지 마. 제 우리가 심전하지를 저 집벌려는 거에 채워라. 타리 도레마 돌아.
That's then just to give you an example, when we were like engaging in a debate in the courtyard in the monastery in the nunnery, then we used to like debate about like this like concept masimje namje. This roughly translated to like all sentient beings being mothers, being our mothers. Then we used to debate like then like as I'm debating with you, am I your mother? Then like these cows and these like small animals that you see running here and there, are they supposed to be your mother? Are they supposed to be my mother? But of course this is just a way of like teasing. But like if we think about it, this is not to say like these are your mother, but just look at like how a mother looks after her baby, from the moment conception happens in the womb, then until birth, and then like after birth, like the whole concern and the whole being of the mother is worried about the child and nurturing the child. And even after the child grows up, the mother is like has to endlessly worry about the child until she almost passes away. So this is to say like we need to be grateful, and we need to be grateful like to the mothers. We need to be like of course if we think about it this way, then we learn like we need to be grateful to our mothers. So if like we know that we need to be grateful to our mothers in this life, then like if we accept like karma and rebirth, then like with the countless rebirths that we have, with the countless births that we have taken in the past lives, everyone has served as our mothers. So we need, and they raised us with the same like love of a mother. This is why we say masimje tamje, or the sentient beings as mothers.
Maybe
then like of course the immediate reaction some people might have is like, then why isn't the father so important too then?
Palare ne tandang to kali di amal da ngere yebi ne gona che na cha dunge de sama amal ma nyongura chirangi am pomudi ti simba chunji inza lamsan di puguri ngoi lamsa amagi di ma chini roido ine kashi ka chabaye mane kashi ka palai di abu chigre ine ma che chabi jula ta pugun ro tu teni mala sende chi bodo che wora ani kan amaka di chemo insana di or pa khari chemo sana yi chi janda chi barra ine danda ga zo khari che gola na amadi ki kangi ma ni wenza ani peshanalo ma ji sumje ta la goya dinga ji de dil ki wora sang ma sha amadu zo shure pala do ke ko ni madinde la
So this is not to discriminate between mothers and fathers, but like if we are like if we just look at it like objectively, biologically a mother, the female has like this like nurturing like concern to the child, and like biologically the female body biologically like it has this nurturing concern for the child, and like the semba chunju la ita la na yang
semba chunju la lamsa ji ya ko pugula ma di chi da sa ro lamsa le go sewa ro la orda sindan le go pugu ji ngud lamsa amad ju do ni ro chi da ko rashi ge pomus chi do da ka sha cha cha la su pugula ra.
So this is why the text like stresses the importance of like thinking of every sentient being as like being our mothers once in the past life.
The teacher, the old dog, right? In Gillen, the Tajia the Gilshon. That then that the old Chuchi, the carting, the Dajin Yamji, and that isn't the Mashit doing now. Donaji, which is Ra. The singers who said that the Mamutin Roshora, Jilla and Tajusho. That under the Karasi, the Dajin Yamjele, Ra, and the Digalan Nimadel Hasana and Jine menga doing that the Jine menga doing the jelling of the Dogis, Ra. The unit under Mashiba Chibu de Dush, Ra, suggested Mashiba Tenima, Mashiba Tenta or Tendo, or somebody in my way, Ra. The Jilla Shivije, that the order Dashin Yamji is empty and Ra. Because Dungim Mali Dadin do the tunes. Chetan Dunging another Jitingal Dungi Kazu in Chetan Dadin do the tunes, Kazan Kuzu Legido. So let the pay Zawashu Chidi the Tigi Karsota, Chidungi Mamujle Ra. Yes, Mjagi Dungi Lavasanatan, Denichoina, and Diwali or Tatanara. Dungi Mali Dadin do the tunes, Zobe Sanjay Jempesin Lechuns, Chetan Dungi. Nanzula dungi mamule de the cousin, Sosu Chipo, Ranjin, Ra, Machipo, Jimuyapo, Rochin, these and the Semba Chunju Digi, and Dungi Mabusura. Not then the dish at the Shemba Karchin, Shayameta, Yawato, and the Dungi Mamuch Ranching. Ra. Today, that Zobi Sanje, Jempe said it to Sanjay commanded the look at Jempe, Jensen Jentangel, Santan, the Latin and Aircastle. Sanjay commanded to Rella. Zobi Sanje, Jempen Sen le Tung Ladi, Jeta Sanji Comatavia, and Yen Simjan Hangela, Sano Tang, Tindegi Lord de Latine, and Sanji Comata to race. Just the Candigola, Shanju sends Ra, Shanju send the Carolina, Yen Simjan Hangela, Jen Passano Town, Machibu Yabona, Machibu Devatana, this Sangomara, when the nation rest. Tinde in Sang, Teshi. Da Teshir da Della da de Yengi Dumita. Chena Teshir da Della de Susu Devada and Yengi Dumi Ra. Rangi Deva the Chitangan to Pat, Sonjabana, Deva the party and Yengi Dumi the Sine, Katu the name, Taposana Jura. And Teshir da de Yengi Dumita, Yanda Gel, the Dini, the Pajabuja, Ra, Yengi Dumita, the Yelam, the Nigi Deva, the Gujena party, the Negi and the Sanota, and the Jason about the Zugin Yamnes.
Now we will now as we just discussed about the 10th practice of the Bodhisattva, now I say as I talked about it before, I wanted to maybe consult another source and try to go about it in detail, but now like for now we will try to complete the text and jump on to the 11th practice of a Bodhisattva. And if we read the last two lines of the 11th stanza, then like as we discussed in the question, as someone like discussed in the question answer session yesterday, as someone mentioned, like all sorts of like suffering, you feel it. You feel like it arises when like you only tend to think about your own happiness or yourself alone. So here in the text it says this. So since like all sorts of like our suffering, since all our misery comes from the fact that like from this self-grasping attitude and from this like need to think about one's own happiness, about oneself only, and in contrast to that, the perfect Buddhahood, the state of like ultimate happiness and unchanging happiness, is born from the wish to like benefit others. For these reasons, because suffering comes from like thinking about oneself, and the perfect Buddhahood is achieved. The perfect Buddhahood of ultimate and unchanging happiness is achieved from this wish to help others or benefit others. Then it is the practice of a Bodhisattva to make a genuine exchange of one's own happiness and well-being for the suffering of the others. Of course, now when we talk about the genuine exchange of happiness and suffering, of one's happiness and others' suffering, then like we cannot say like I'm gonna give all of my happiness to someone else. We cannot just do that like literally. But this is a way of thinking, a way of like developing an intent, way of meditating on it. Like when you meditate, I take on all the suffering of all the sentient beings, and of all the like good merits that I have earned, or all the good karmas that I have earned, I dedicate it to the benefit of all the other sentient beings. This is the way to practice the genuine exchange.
이내양 아주 이 로로지 나도 제라 니만 쇼기네 건다 파다 쇼라라도 내가 민담도 투어레 미네바 투어레 갱고 투어레 가리네 투어라 배나 아주 페로샤나 아주 지조랑 건도시 드로이나 다니 미 경고된도 이제 같이 당아저디 지조랑 대선 같이 참가시우도 자 대사 말아 꾸자 말아 랑데네 경고도 빼깔래요라 라 근데 이제 안 켜나 쉬우스 나한테 랑올라 근데도 이제는 제라 칼라 수수 키우치는 데데데 파이야 경고들 아니 로바친 콜디주로 야 같이 부도 데리 키디니 제메네 칼카우도 부고니 숨 키디니 데데야 자가지고 저거는 키디니도 딘데라 안 수수기야 딘데가 나가서 냠니 친주 가라야 이마 제도에는 갈리 로제 체도 빠르들 수수 집어 마이게 파기 심바들 상마 따야데 갈리가 로 장구라 이마지랑 가서 딘데 제도고 말이네 대마 직제니 이제 숨제데 빠르들 로 곰레라 딘데저레스.
So now like when we talk about the genuine exchange, then we say like suffering of others, and the others in this sense of the word is infinite if we think about it. So as such, the suffering is infinite, and then when we like approach it in this way, then like we feel like this is not something practical. But I will give you an example. Like we need to start from like small efforts. So imagine like a scene in a crowded public bus, and then if we see someone who is pregnant or someone like who is old, then like it becomes like basic courtesy to offer like the seat to these like people. So this is a small exchange of like forsaking your own happiness and trying to like your own comfort and your own happiness, and trying to like understand the suffering of others and offering like your own comfort and happiness and making that exchange. So like by engaging in like small efforts like this, then maybe we are able to like develop this type of intent.
칼라나 빼는 아주 미치베 강에 체대라 콜라지 베 가서 지 겐고로지나 깜반네 바로 가지도 게 이제 모던으로 리로 체대거라 라 안주 꾸자가나데 이그 relations나 스마치 보인사 말라 티키 텔코데주나 서라 아와다링가 메질라 로바체라서 콜라 아니 지 겐고들 이제 마리아라 펜토고레 아니 코나 데오치네 데야라라 능 나다 게무다 제투니지나라 데로 산다이나 단도 치랑 꾸자나 데니 콜레 데월레 그냥 미디 겐고로다 보이니로 든질 로바치니 콜레 데와치 통 단도 가서 디키보다 다나 오늘 약모치 시아라서 로바 심바키 오말레나 다나 앞에 약모치 hun선더라 따때데든 이게 배춘주지 샤르데다 감향하네라 가와 도에는 먼저게 근데 제야요라 로바
So now I want you to like kind of think about like this example that I have given you. So let's take the example of an old person like walking with a cane and like standing up in a crowded bus, and then you are sitting in the comfort of a seat, and then when you offer like that seat to the old person, you kind of know like the suffering that this old person is going through, the discomfort that he is going through, that when he's like walking, when he has a cane and he has nowhere to sit. And then you being able-bodied, and then when you are enjoying the comfort of that seat, when you make that exchange, wherein like you offer your seat to that old man, then like if you think about it, like somehow like even though you made that exchange, wherein you offered the comfort of the seat to the old man, and then like somehow you took on his like discomfort of standing in a very crowded bus, you do not really feel the discomfort or the uneasiness of being in a crowded bus, because you have this feeling in yourself like you did the right thing, you did a good thing. Yes, sir.
Depending na shui in the lane with the patient, I came the Hassan, Madojana do, and silly girl that they couldn't be the Sunjudo. I mean, Mambo Saja, Kashikuja Maran Penyadura. Then the gange do this, Gano, Konakujara Indu. Taine, then also to get the Toro chair or watching Jimmy and Zuchue Chipuchito to get Rilna and Zuchue. The Kulkuja,
really right.
Rilna into him. That not any Mambora. Gendi Genoche, any Delicita, Corona Shuzame, that came a lane, Ninga to Children Chawastra, Zuchue, and Shugamadona, the Chungera, and Canadian, and Nanis, a grand kitchen, Canadian, yes. Also, any robot in the Zamda on the Shatter to the Shadera, Shaded the Poromatini, and Zamda any robot in the Pats and the Chin later. This is the lady Galamuni. Huge chose Gendia Casana Sunjusha or Manzoya root in the color of Pado Chera, surgical and crying Jepe Gadura, and the Chunazoropa, which is a 2G channel. Chetanga, the Kujangal village in Yeva letter, color Robas and Koran Sembaga, Manzoya Robaji Cheras and Kibuchum, and the leader, didn't get Ngarashi which in the Unera, in a deep pedo, then they do Jitangarazi in the Sunarola, Karina Tungur, to the something around some chair restaurant.
Now, like I want to give you this example, like real life example that I had, and I don't want you to misunderstand it in the way like I'm boasting I did something good, or like I don't want you to misunderstand it in this way. But like if I recount the story like that happened to me a few months ago when the Dalai Lama was giving a teaching in Bodh Gaya, and then we were trying to board a train, a group of nuns, and then we noticed like there was an old monk who was alone and who couldn't like get a ticket to travel to Bodh Gaya for the teachings. And then like since the train was already overbooked, then like we thought about it, the nuns, we thought about it together, and then we went to the ticket counter for him to at least get a ticket to enter the coach. Otherwise it's illegal to travel without a ticket on the train. So after we got the ticket for him to enter the coach, then like the nuns we discussed among ourselves that maybe since we have like tickets and we have like seats, maybe we offer like one of the seats to this monk, and then like we can compromise by like when we go to teachings we bring a mat with ourselves. So like we compromised by collecting these mats, and like one of us sleeping on these these collected mats and offering the seat to the old monk. Now I'm not boasting that I did something good, but throughout the journey I felt like all of us as a group we did the right thing, and that we are able to afford this old monk the opportunity to opportunity to like listen to a Dharma teaching. So this is like the small instances of like the practice of like genuine exchange that we can make in our real life.